you can. Live to be well. Live to be well with Dr. Kim, with Dr. Kim.
Good evening and welcome to Live to Be Well. I'm your host, Dr. Kim Logan-Nowlin. What is Live to Be Well? Mind, body, and soul. Bringing it all together collectively. Because one can't function without the other. You can try, but it's going to be difficult. I am a mental health specialist. I've been in practice now almost 40 years, helping people deal with how to live to be well. But I also have had tragedy. I've suffered great loss. And the question is, can you find love after loss? Is it possible? Now, you may say all things are possible through Christ Jesus. I understand that. I believe that. But how do we do the things that we need to do? Good evening, Bobby. God bless you and welcome to Live to Be Well. But how do we move on after loss? Through counseling, through self-talk, great inspirational books, the Word of God, prayer. And then not convincing yourself it's time to move on, but allowing yourself to purge and to heal that you're ready to move on. Now, in counseling, I get the opportunity, I'm blessed to be able to hear people's story and to be able to understand what they've been through. Because again, your tragedy or your loss or your trauma is not mine, and mine is not yours, but we still can identify and be able to work together and try to help with a solution. Divorce, that is a great loss. When you have to go through a divorce or a separation in a relationship or a breakup in a relationship, there's someone you've been dating for a long time, but it doesn't go into marriage. So how do you overcome that loss? So we're not just talking about, the loss of a loved one passing away. We're talking about the overall aspect of a loss. Is there love after loss? Is it okay for me to love after loss? Is it all right for me to go into a new relationship? But we want to make sure now that if you've gone through a divorce, you do not want to recycle those same patterns of negativity, regardless of who was the cause of the divorce. A separation, ending a long season of dating someone that you thought you were going to get engaged to or married to, but it didn't turn out that way. And the person suddenly broke off with you, broke it off. It's over. I'm done. And you're still convincing yourself there's a chance. How do you move on from loss? Well, tonight I want to welcome my daughter, ML6, and we're going to talk a little bit with Micha for a minute. Then we're going to bring our very special guest on the air with us. ML6, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Hi, everybody.
Yes, you looking kind of fly over there in LA. I like your ensemble, you
Thank you.
know. So let me ask you something. Micah, you recently, we want to talk about the loss of Mr. Batts and who he is. Can we talk a little bit about that, please?
Oh, okay, yes. Mr. Batch was the owner of the radio station that I've worked at for 20 something years, 21 years. He was a pillar in the community. He started with an insurance agency, and then in 1987, or prior to 1987, he met a couple named the Garretts. And the couple, the Garretts, remembered him, and they created a relationship and so forth and so on, which led to when the Garretts passed. Before the Garretts passed, they passed on the torch to Mr. Batts to run the station, and then that's when he started We of AM in Huntsville, Alabama. And it started with the Garrett, it continued with Mr. Batts, and now it's continuing on with those of us that are still there. He passed away Saturday night at the age of 81. A giant in the community. His family stretches far and wide throughout Alabama and throughout this country. If you ever met him, he always had a story to tell. He was very, he never We never saw him dressed down except for one day out the year, and that was at the Black Arts Festival, and he would wear a polo. And I'm almost sure we had to make him wear a polo shirt. He wore a suit every single day. And if we had to, whenever I remember, like there were days when I had to work on holidays, and he would come into the station and he would still have on a suit, and I would be like, "Why are you not with your family?" Because I would like to do my thing. But I was always a city girl because I was the only one at the station who wasn't from Alabama. But he knew that I had something special within me, and he knew that I was different, but I was right. So he will be greatly missed. They're having his funeral services this Friday in Huntsville at First 70 Adventist Church, and it's a major loss to the community for sure. He had been retired for quite some time, but still, it's just like his presence was still felt, and it still will be felt in its own way. We've lost a lot of giants, and he was the biggest one of our station to pass. So that's just a little bit about him.
Well, my condolences to the We Up family and also to my daughter because truly they have definitely cared for my child. And I want to let you know that I appreciated WUP Radio. Good evening, everyone joining us. Good evening. Good evening. Appreciate you. Good evening. Look at Priscilla on the air. You know,
Hey, Mama
Mama, you have gone through some great losses in your life. You know,
She just lost her niece just recently too. So
oh, and you just lost your niece. Our condolences to you and AD and the family. You know, you have suffered a loss. You lost your husband and you've lost a son and great loss, you know. So what are some of the things that people go through, Micah, when they lose a loved one, especially a spouse? I've been married. You haven't been married. So, but can you talk on what maybe you saw in me? What did you see in me, what I went through?
well, so I've seen my mom. You know how I get. So I've seen
Oh, be kind. You
uh,
know, Priscilla, tell her to be kind. Okay, let's go. Let's go.
so I've seen my mom go through losing a few people. I think the very first loss that I saw my mom experience was the loss of my uncle Derek. That was her brother, and that loss was very, very traumatic for our entire family. He was murdered. And so I remember very, I'm gonna be nice, Mama V. I was very, 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 I remember I was 8 years old and I very vividly the entire night of how everything happened that night. And I was kind of lost in the shadows a little bit, but I saw everything and probably some stuff that I probably shouldn't have seen from the at the scene of the crime. But that loss took a toll on my mom health wise. I think she had been the smallest that I had ever seen her be because she and my uncle Derek were like this. Like my uncle Derek had keys to the house. You know, he could watch me and come get me from school. There was a trust and there was a love there with like a brother sister bond that was very, 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 very strong. Through ups and downs, but the two of them were like this. And so when he passed away, I watched my mom go through that. And like I said, it was mostly seen with her weight loss. And then she really, dived into her work and just kind of like doing, going. And then I think after that, we had other deaths in our family, but the next major death would have been my grandfather. And so my grandfather passed away. My mom was a daddy's girl. So that one took a toll of her in its own way. Not as dramatic as my Uncle Derek, but it did take a toll. But what did she do? She dived into work, 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 work. So then again, we still had a series of deaths in between then. And then fast forward to my grandmother's death. Now, my grandmother's death was different because my mom and my grandmother had a different relationship, but the love was very much there. It was just different. And I think that took a toll on my mom more internally, I think. I think more of a loss of what could have been within their relationship.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what that loss was for my mom.
Yeah.
But again, she went into work, 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 work. And then we had a series of deaths within those years. It was like my Rachel, I think we had a cousin, and then daddy gets sick. And it took a while for my mom to really grasp that my dad was as sick as he was. She did not want to come into the reality that dad was really sick. And so she would go to work, and then I remember one time she asked him, I don't know why you can't just go to work. And we both looked at her like, he's sick. Like, it didn't register to her how sick he really was. And even though she was taking him to hospital visits and going through things, she did not want to grasp that my husband is this sick and there's a possibility that I could lose him. I can honestly say, she may not be able to say this, but I can honestly say that I saw her totally not like jump out of reality. She was in her own orbit of what was happening until I think days leading up. And then that night when he passed. And then even after, she went into work. She went into immediately cleaning the house. She went into immediately getting things out of the house. What do you want? Da, 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 da. Now, where some people may be like, oh, that's it. But for my mom, it was she had to be busy and do something. And so when she gets into these modes, cleaning is her thing. She just starts to clean uncontrollably. She starts to organize. And so a part of that was I got to figure out how to navigate and still move within this home that my husband did pass in without me being triggered every single day with things in his home, all while not being at home because I'm at work so very much. And then it came to my sister, and my sister was 15, 16 at the time. And so then that's when we had a meeting as a family, and we decided that I would take on basically taking care of Aaron so that mommy could kind of focus on herself. And to be perfectly honest with you all, mommy never really raised a teenager because I went to boarding school and then Aaron was coming into her own. So she really didn't have an idea of how to quote unquote raise a teenager in her home on top of dealing with her grief. So I just kind of stepped up and I honestly put my grief to the back to be a support for she and my sister. And it wasn't until I think 2019, that's when 2019, yeah, about 2019, that's when I got into therapy because I was having survivor's remorse, the heaviness of taking care of my sister. It was just a lot that I hadn't dealt with my dad's death prior to it all hit me at once. So I had to start therapy to kind of navigate my life. And then boom, the pandemic comes. And so then that in itself breeded a lot of death and devastation throughout the year. But the one thing that is a constant for how my mother deals with things, and it's most of us, especially within the Black community, we work. And we think that at some point that is going to minimize the reality of the loss of the person, because what you're doing is you're trying to fill the void. But then you have those moments at night when that void can't be filled and reality hits you in the gut. And that's when those tears come. And that's when it's like, okay, I am here. I am home alone. I am by myself, this and the third. Well, then that's when my mom now, she travels a little bit more. She spends more time in LA with us. She has created a network of friends that I said, Ma, you got to start going out. She and I had to have a woman-to-woman talk about like how to navigate in this single world life. Because I'm out here, I go to the show by myself. I go to the concert by myself. I travel. I do all these things by myself. And I had to let her know like, yo, you haven't been by yourself since I was born. Mm-hmm. You haven't been by yourself since I was born. This is the first time in your life that you had to navigate life as a single woman and not have anybody attached to her. And I needed her to be in that space. Because as a woman, I believe that if you have an opportunity to ever be by yourself as a woman, you have to embrace all of that. And you have to be able to move and love yourself for who you are and not through the eyes of somebody else. And so we had to have those conversations, and we're still having those conversations. And so that for me is what I saw with my mom and navigating how to handle death, which me too, when things happen, I tend to also go into work mode. I go into like trying to help and fix things and do all of these different things. But I mean, it's a learned behavior from watching my mom navigate and being okay. Now I have learned, like I'll take my moments, like I'll say, hey, I can't, right. I'll talk to you later. I'm feeling away. Because where she may not be in a space where she wants to handle and deal with her own emotions, oh, baby girl, I'm going to have to take care of mine. Mm-hmm. So that's just kind of how I've seen my mom navigate and how it's come on to me and how I've had to filter through to navigate my own bouts with grief.
Well, I agree with just about everything, but I did raise you up to the 11th grade You didn't go to boarding school to the 11th grade.
Okay.
And then Aaron did not go into the 11th grade.
After 11th grade, there was a coolness there that she
And
did
then and then you transitioned to college.
not.
So I was there, raising a
Okay.
teenager, 13, 14, 15,
Till
16.
I was about 15. No, till I was about 16. But
16.
after 16, she was coolest. But yeah, no.
You're gonna have to whip her when she comes to Huntsville. Listen, feel free to write a question in the chat. Talk with us. Hi, LaShayla. Hey, Kathy. Hello, Diane. Good evening. Good evening, Michelle. Good evening. Good evening. And we just want to hear from you. Good to see you, Kathy. Good evening, Diane Coles. Happy Tuesday to you also. Yes, I know. Look, Micah, look. She said, be nice, be nice, be nice. And cousin Shelby is on the line. Well, tonight, good evening, Michelle. Hi, Tanya Dykes is on the line. We got a lot of engagement tonight, so we want to hear from you. Good evening from Lawrence, our cousin Pella and Shelby. Good evening. Listen, can't thank you enough for joining in. Well, we're about to bring in a special guest. This is not just a special guest. This is my family. Rachel Wheeler, we call her Cassie, cousin Cassie. She's one of the historians of our family, of the Whiteside family. We just returned from Tennessee, Centerville, Tennessee, for our family reunion, where our great leader, Lawrence Crawford, and his beautiful wife, Shelby, let us on in. And we are preparing now for our picnic, our celebration, and I'm excited about that. When you cross over 50 years of coming together for a family gathering, it's amazing. But my cousin Cassie went through a very, very difficult time in her life. And one of the things that we have in common, I want her to share her story. So I would like to welcome her to Live to Be Well. Welcome in, cousin Kathy.
Hello. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Oh, it's so good to have you. We just want you to tell your story about what happened and when did it happen, and to share that with our viewers tonight. Would you do that for us?
Okay, yes. So we're talking about grief, and this is so interesting looking at you and Micha. I will be interested to hear what my daughter has to say about how she thinks I've navigated grief. I've had a lot of grief in the past 5 years. So I was just looking over. Okay, so how do you deal with grief? So I had grief leading up to this big crescendo moment of grief. So one of my sisters passed in 2020, which was a devastating loss. I had to go down to Georgia, did not know that she was as sick as she was. And to see my sister and to realize I'm looking at my sister, you realize my sister is dying. She's not going to make it. And I didn't know that until I went to see her. She passed in 2020. And then the next year, my niece, 27 years old, laid across her bed. We didn't know what happened, and she passed. Person that was closest to me that shared she wasn't close in the recent years, but she shared one of the most important moments in my life. The person that was in the delivery room with me when my daughter was born. Saw my daughter born before I did. She passed suddenly, blood clot. She was younger than me that same year. Then we had my sister-in-law. She passed in December of 2021. So then we go into 2022, which was, on top of everything else, it was such a hard time for me. So then we had my Uncle Jimmy pass, who I was very close to. He was the last elder in my branch of the family. And I was very close to him. He was the last survivor of 10 children. And so he passed. And, that was a devastating blow to my branch of the family. He was like a second father to me. I talked to him all the time. He passed. And my husband was with me at the time. We were going through all this grief. He'd lost some people in his family that we were close to. And then my husband's uncle, who we spent a lot of time with, that was like my husband's best friend, he became ill and went into a coma. My husband was devastated. He was absolutely devastated. And we were back and forth at the hospital. We were talking about it. We were hoping that he would pull out of it. And then 2 months later, with my husband. We go to the grocery store. We spend the afternoon together. He made our little snacks like he always did. We'd always have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. He made the best. And we'd have that in our little, running errands, going grocery shopping. And I dropped him off, went to go wash the car, and he passed while I was washing the car. Literally, had not even got to put the groceries up. So to me, I was just so stunned, and it was just such a devastating, blow on top of all of the other grief that we were dealing with. So basically lost 7 people in less than a year. And it was just such a culmination of grief. And what do you do? And I was devastated. I didn't know what I was going to do. How am I going to handle having to lay him to rest? And then you deal with the feelings of guilt. How could I have not known that he was ill the way he was? What if I had said something different? What if I had you think about those last moments that you don't know that are last moments. Right. And you start replaying those things in your mind. And so it was really a hard time. But I'm so grateful for, my faith in God. I'm so grateful for strength and tenacity and just wanting to get through that and moving forward to where I am today. It'll be 3 years in this September, in a couple of months.
3 years.
So it'll be 3 years since he passed.
Cassie, you were the only one there in the home with
yes.
Husband. You did on your own.
Yes. So to come back and to find him on the other side of the bed, gone. There was nothing that could have been done. He had what was called a widowmaker heart attack. And I knew that he was gone because when I came in, the bags, there was still stuff in the kitchen. And I was like, well, what's going on?
We'll send $17 for.
And then I go back to the room and there he was. So there's nothing that's going to prepare you in life for that kind of moment. You understand that death happens. You understand that you have to navigate through these things, but nothing's going to prepare you for. I just spent the whole afternoon with someone. I had a similar situation that happened like this years ago with an uncle, but I just spent a whole afternoon with someone, and then you not knowing that those are your last precious moments with that person.
Mercy.
So I started thinking, just replaying everything in my mind. But what was a comfort to me, he knew that I loved him. He knew that, the relationship we had, he knew the bond that we had. He knew that I cared for him. He knew all of those things. So that was a comfort to me, and so it was a tough time, but here I am, here you are. Here I am.
So the question is, do you want, you've been through this and it's very difficult. It's been 3 years, cousin, and you and I talked about this in Tennessee.
We did.
Yes. Love after loss. Do you feel that you would like to date again or even marry again? And you proposed that question to me too, but I'm focusing on you,
Yes,
something
I can say this. One of the most joyous things in life is to have a partner with you, someone that you love and you can share your life with, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the ugly. You can share your vulnerabilities with someone that you can trust, that's your right hand right there with you. So it's too many years ahead for me to say that I don't want to have a special partner in my life again. So yes, I do want to have love again. But the thing that I had to work through when he passed was I had to fall in love with myself again. I had to rediscover who I am as a single woman at a different age now. I thought that he was going to be around for much longer. So I have to look at who I am now, what my expectations are, where I'm at in life. And yes, I do want love again in my life. I do. But it has to be right. It has to be, I'm not in a rush. I'm by no means desperate, Right. So, but I do think it's important to have a good companion in your life and someone to share your life with and love. Yes.
What are your expectations?
My thing was falling in love with myself again.
Right. You got to love yourself. You got to purge. It's been 9 years, so maybe 9 years in October. So what are the expectations that we need to look at, as from the position of women, and we're cousins, we're family, we care about each other. And one of the things that, thank you, Kathy. One of the things I did with my cousin, hi, Clarence, Elder Clarence is here. from my church, I invited Cassie to come with me to a play, to spend some time with her. We have
Yes.
to remember you got to put your arms around your loved ones and remember that they're not alone, that we have each other. So let's talk about expectations. Are there any, do you have a list, or I know you're living in God's hands, but is there a list?
I had things that I don't know as far as expectations of the next partner you mean to come into my life.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
so focused on myself and loving myself and being in a good space with my environment. So the things that I did, basically the first thing I did was I prayed for peace and I prayed for guidance on how a healthy way to deal with the loss and deal with this new point in my life, this new time in my life. What did that mean? And I did meditation. I've been on a spiritual journey and so I continued on with meditation. I did yoga. I did a lot of reading. I did neuro linguistic programming, where I did, subliminal reprogramming things, positivity activities for my mind, which I still do that. Again, reading. So I
yes.
just filled myself with positive things that were going to help me to be a better person and navigate towards this. I know I had to move on with my life, but I wanted to move on with my life in the best way possible. To me,
Right.
holding on to grief, you're going to feel it. It's going to pop up here and there in your life, but holding on to grief and not letting it go and holding on to the guilt and the tragedy and the sadness, it's so heavy. To me, it's like holding on to a big pile of bricks. You're just carrying this with you. It's heavy. But if you want to move on and have a healthy, light, happy life and let your light come through, you got to let go of that.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah,
let it go. And
yeah.
so I had to let it go piece by piece. And now here I am without any of that, and I still have dreams about him. I still think about him. I still think about my sister, all the people that I've lost.
Awesome.
But I still have so many other people to love and to
Yeah,
share and to build
yeah,
with.
yeah.
And I think that one of the things I found so significant in dealing with loss is that when you deal with back-to-back loss, when you have so much grief,
Yeah.
and you have to deal with it, and you're working, you have to manage all these different things to get through the things that bring you to your absolute knees and pain in this life, and to still be able to right now today stand up. That lets me know how powerful God is within me and everyone else,
Oh
because
yeah.
people are going through so much.
Oh
And
yeah.
so to be able to get through that, get through those moments, I mean, literally, when this happened, I would wake up every day, like you see in the movies, literally open my eyes and I'm crying immediately because it was so painful to think about he's not here. Immediately. I mean, as soon as I open my eyes, I'm like, oh, I'm awake, and oh, he's not here. Immediately
Yeah.
to where I am today. And so
Yeah.
I am very grateful to have been able to work through and continue to work through, grief on the other side and get to the other side of that. Yes.
How has your daughter been a support to you? I know I'm able to go to California. I love visiting my girls. I
I
love,
visit my
you know,
Yes, I visit my daughter. She's in New York, so I
yeah.
visit her. She comes home. She'll actually be home next week. She'll be at the family reunion picnic.
Oh,
But
nice.
I talk to her literally every day.
Yes.
We FaceTime. Like I said, I go to New York. She comes here. She's been such a rock. You know what I mean? She's really supportive. We talk through things. She's very spiritual. We pray through things. We meditate. So she's been such a good support, part of my support system. Her and my sister. I have a older sister that really helps. So, yeah.
Blessing. Uh, um, Cousin Cassie, love the way you're thinking and moving forward. Naya, good evening. Good evening to Carmen. I know, Chanel, that is something, good evening, Carmen. I think it's important too to be able to recognize certain qualities. Let's talk about comparison. Now, my daughters told me, no, mom, you cannot date, you cannot remarry. No one can fill Dad's shoes, okay? No one can. And so I'm like, okay. So comparing, I look at what Arthur had versus somebody else. That is something. Oh, she came back in. You did today. Yes, you did, Cassie.
Oh no, what I told you was I
What?
needed to make sure that you took time to figure out who you were in this space as a single woman, to
Yes,
embrace
that's so
who you are,
important.
to love yourself. I did not say that. I said that if and when you decided that you were ready to date, when it wasn't because it was just somebody that was right there or just somebody that was just around, that it was somebody that you really liked, not just because you were forcing yourself to like someone because they were there. If it was someone that you really liked and that literally God gave you clearance to be with this person, and because I know how strongly you felt about daddy and how attractive you were to daddy, it has to be somebody that really tickles your fancy, as they say. Like, stop playing with me. I never said that you couldn't. That
Okay.
wouldn't have been fair of me. I just said I wanted you to take time and to really be in alignment with whoever that person was, but more so be in alignment with who you were as a woman. That's
I appreciate that. Okay, Cassie, she cleared that up. Okay, Cassie,
Yes,
we
my
want
daughter is pretty much on the same way. She's like, "Mom, at this stage in your life, just focus on yourself," and which I am focusing on my happiness, rediscovering who I am as a woman at this stage in my life. Who I,
to. Okay.
today. What does that
Yeah.
look like today? What would dating even look like? Oh, I don't even know. I haven't even
Right.
ventured out into it yet, which is a
Uh,
scary thought, but
that's a whole nother
that is a
broadcast.
whole
What?
nother podcast.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, dating. What does dating look like for us today? And
What does it look like? I mean, I don't want to, dating sites and you try to meet somebody organically. What does that look like? You know what I mean? My
mm,
thing is, you have to have loyalty. My thing is having been married, and you can speak to this level of loyalty. And like you said, Micah, somebody that tickles your fancy. My husband was 10 toes down when it came to me. You know what I mean? I was like his sunshine. So I would expect to be that for someone else. I would want to be that. And, I'd want that same kind of thing. So, you know,
well,
it's a lot.
Mama said your daughter gave me the same advice. All right. Are you muted, Micah? Are you muted?
I remember when I think there was someone that was semi flirting with my mom and she didn't get it. And I was like, Mom, like, this is what is happening right now. Like, I had to really break it down for her what was going on. And she was like, but no, like, it's just I'm like, no, that's not what that is. That's not what he's thinking. He's thinking something else. But because she was so disconnected from it, because she had been married for so long, and because she's used to having, like, my mom wasn't a serial dater. I can honestly say that growing up, my mom did not have a lot of men in and out of my life before she met my dad. Like, that was not something that I saw. If it was somebody that she brought into her life, it was somebody that she felt was going to be not only just a good husband, but a good father to me. And so she didn't bring men around me like that. Like, I think she was dating daddy for like a year before I even knew what was going on between them. I was just spending a lot of time at my grandmother's house, so I know what was happening. But I didn't mind. I was doing that anyway, so it wasn't out of the norm. But I had to, like, let her know, like, Ma, like, you can't do that like you used to do that, because that's going to give him the wrong impression. Like, you can't do that if that's not what you want from him. And she was so confused, and I was like, okay, this is going to have to be a seminar on how to help her navigate and
You're not being right.
on what it is. Like, you can't do that. Like, you can't. You can't create emotional time. You can't do all these things because there's going to be something that's wanted on the other end of that after a certain time. So I had to, like, tell her, like, everybody's not trying to be your friend. Just, you got to know that. Like, they're not trying to be your friend. So you have to know what your intentions are and be clear off top, so that you doesn't lead somebody on.
That's
So
true.
it's like helping her now. It was just weird because I was like, I got to help her through this. But at the same time, I give her space. But, like, I'll see certain things and notice certain things. And sometimes I don't say anything. I just make a mental note. And when I'm ready to speak on it, I will. But one thing about it, I'm not going to Cousin Cassie, I know your daughter feels the same way. Because we love you all so very much. And it's the same way with Mama P on here. So very protective of the mother figures in my life and people that I know that are mothers. When you have a daughter, hear me and hear me well. Sons are always going to be how they're going to be, but daughters, especially those of us that are younger and we may be actively dating or not, we're not going to let somebody come in and just be with our mama. You don't get to do that.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you just not going to come in.
Yes.
I don't live there. I'm not around every day, so I can't see. So I got to know
who is this?
I'm not saying you can't, but I'm not going to let any man and it's not comparing them to my father. It's because I know who my mother is, and I know what my mother deserves, and I know what makes my mother smile. The reality of the situation is, Aunt Cassie, Mommy, Mama P, y'all don't necessarily need a man. Y'all can do whatever it is y'all want to do and to navigate through by yourselves. If you all have a man, it has to be somebody that you want, that brings value to your heart health. Yep. They have to bring value to your heart health. And if that man can't do that, get it. Because if I'm doing this by myself, if you're coming in, you're supposed to be adding value to me. Mm-hmm. If us as daughters don't see that, because we're out here, we see it, we know what's up, we know game, we know what it is, and we know that you all are prizes beyond measure. Mm-hmm. So there isn't a man that just gets to think that they're gonna come in and stop all that y'all got going for you to be checking them and having to ask them questions, have to be worried about them and have to be doing this and telling them. No, we're not doing that. Because what you're not about to do is stress my mama out. You're not about to do that.
You sound like Sierra so much. This is just tickling me. You sound so much like my daughter right now. Oh my goodness.
It's those things, woman to woman, when you have daughters in your lives that have seen you all and have watched you grieve, and we watched you love. Mm-hmm. And you all, it's like, okay, you all say, well, watch us, do as I say, not as I do, da 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 da. Okay, all of that, but we watched you love, and because we know that love was taken from you, and we've seen how you've grown since that love has been taken from you. Nobody gets to come in and disturb that. Nobody.
Wow. This is speaking real truth. This is, oh yeah. Today's dating is very difficult. It's a whole another broadcast, as we stated. Bobby and said, that good looking out for your mom. Carmen, that is so true. Leon Jones stated loyalty is absolutely a key factor. Loyalty, which is
it's everything.
It's key, Leon. It is everything. Let's go to some of our comments, Al, that people shared with us about this topic. Let's go to our comments. Let's go to some of our comments. This is so good. We've got to do a part 2 with this, Cousin Cassie, all right?
Okay. Yes. I will say that
okay. Go ahead with your comments, and then we'll go to these comments. Go ahead with what we're going to say.
I was just going to say that the people that I used to attract years before, the wrong kind of people, I'm looking to attract the right kind of person. So I'm not out looking. So I'm thinking that the spirit that's within me and the light that's within me is going to resonate and attract the right kind of opportunities, all of that. So I am trying to live a high vibration, high frequency lifestyle, if you understand what that means. And so before, the other type of men that would be attracted to me or would say something to me, I see those same men. They don't say anything to me. They keep it moving, because what I am putting out here is like, I'm not playing games. Don't come over here with any mess. And so they don't. They keep moving. And so I know that the right person is going to be attracted to me. And when it's meant to happen, it'll happen. And I'm open to that whenever it happens.
And T. Lee, good program. I'm loving this East Sider. That's my East Side girl, T. Lee. Always remember, a relationship should be productive and of good quality. And also should date a man that loves God. Thank you, Diane Coles. Yes. Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's T. Lee. I'm loving this. This is a good topic because, again, divorce, separation, dating. You've been in a long relationship. We've lost loved ones, and you can't heal and move into a relationship because you've lost your mother. And you have not been able to heal from that loss, or you lost your aunt, your sister, your brother. I could not move on to anything because I was hurting so bad losing my brother, Derek. And Micah is right. I pour my life into my work and cleaning. I will clean everything. I'll clean the whole city of Detroit. That's how I heal. So let's do some of these comments. You all were so kind enough. How can a person become open for love after loss? Okay, let's read these. All right, Tanya Dykes. My loss was in the form of abandonment by my ex. I believed helping others become healed and happy was my responsibility. My greatest lesson was accepting the only person I could make happy is myself because it's no one else's responsibility. I know I have not been loved properly because I wasn't being chosen by a man after God's own heart with living proof. Now I live single in perfect peace because I seek God's presence in everything I do. See, having God is the key in having a God relationship. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Cassie, you want to take that next one by Kimmy Jean? Hi, Kimmy.
Yes, Kimmy G. I believe that being open can be challenging, but it's not impossible. I've experienced loss through divorce, and I know that moving forward would require me to stay prayed up and spiritually grounded before opening my heart to love again. For me, the best path isn't to actually seek love, but to allow it to unfold naturally, perhaps through a genuine friendship, if
Yeah.
that's what God has planned. Trusting his timing makes all the difference. Yes.
Wow, Kimmy. Wow, that's powerful. All right,
Mhm.
Melanie, Germany. All right, Micah, take those comments.
Slowly, prayerfully, healing, and peacefully.
Yes, I agree with that, Melody. All right, take Mama G, Mama P, Micah.
Much, much prayer and discernment. Be mindful of what is being said and have boundaries.
Yes, have boundaries. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Cassie, take Cheryl Wright, please.
You know that this resonates with me, Cheryl. Slowly and prayerfully, allowing healing to take place unhurriedly. Yes, haste makes waste, and so you don't want to rush into anything. And slowly is the best way to arrive at the best thing in your life. So yeah,
Right.
I
Yes.
agree with that. Yes,
Yes. And Cheryl's
don't
husband. Right.
rush.
I have a friend. Her husband died right after he directed the choir in church. He died right after he directed the
Mm.
choir. And she's sitting right there in the congregation, like, or she might have been in the choir loft, seeing your husband just die right after. Or I have another different. Her husband died after he got through preaching. You know, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Must be open minded and meticulous, and let go, let it go, and stay
Yes.
focused and show leadership. Yes,
Mhm.
yes. That's my
Mhm.
African son. Yes,
Gotta let it go.
let
Hmm.
it go. Jonathan, by letting the dead bury their own dead and living. Oh,
Yes. That's what
come
I
on.
was saying earlier about letting go of those big bricks, those rocks you're holding on to grief. Let them go. Live
Let
your
them
life
go.
free.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Cassie Reed Ronald.
I know what this is going to sound like for some. However, my philosophy is life must go on. Don't worry, being skeptical and fear don't allow being skeptical and fear hold you back. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Life
Okay.
must go on. It has to because the life is still in you. It has to.
It has to go. Yes.
You have other people to love, other things to do.
Robert Johnson says heal. Micah, read Uncle Kurt.
I would
Hey,
want my
cousin
wife.
Kurt.
I want my wife to live and be happy. Life is so short. Even alone, going to church gets old by yourself. God sends someone to open. If God sends someone to open that to open, if God sent someone to you, open the door.
Okay. Sherilyn Harrison. I know I continue to pray for you and your daughters, Eve and Eden, losing a wonderful husband. Believe that love is possible again, and being able to
Mm-hmm.
start,
And it is.
allowing yourself to be open, not because that's, like Micah said, it was, I've been married so long and to be alone, but now I'm being in my own space. Let me tell you what I did, Cassie. Now Micah put me on her locator on Uber, okay, location. And I'm out there walking, doing my thing, going on, flying in. And Sharon Harrison met me there. We went on to see Othello with Denzel. Denzel, you know. And then Micah said, don't wait on anyone. You just go, 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 go. And I've been going, and get on a plane and I just go. Hey, brother Kirk, look at Kirk on the line. Good comment, Kirk. Good comment.
I think for me, why that was important for her is because she and my dad did everything together. The only thing that they did not do together, and she tried to do it with him, and I told her she could not, was play golf because I needed her to understand that that was his outlet. She needed to find her own. With them doing everything together, living together, working together, church together, everything, they needed as individuals to have something that they could do without the other person.
That's
I
true.
gardened. I did gardening.
Right, but you were trying to get in on daddy's golfing, and I had to nip that in the bud. And I was like, no, you can't do that. And so now that her partner, you know what I'm saying? Like, I saw my parents literally be partners. And what that represented, I was like, you know what? Now that she's in this space by herself, and for any woman out there that you feel that a man is intimidated by your strength, confidence, presence, your aura, all of that, those are not the men for you. The man for you, just like the husbands that you got, even when they may have got you when you may not have had the strength that you have now, but they knew that it was in you. They're not going to back down from that. They're not going to walk away from that. And I promise you, there's going to be a discernment, and there's going to be something that clicks, that God isn't going to let you navigate and be with anyone that is going to cause and create conflict and chaos and mess. There will literally be no mess surrounding who your next would be. I don't believe that God would take something away to give you something less than what you had.
You better say that.
Doesn't work.
Right.
Okay.
So when you all are even in your dating, if it's less than the man that you had, he gotta go.
That's not happening.
No.
No, that's not happening. My thing at this point in my life, I am not about wasting time. Period.
Yeah.
Everybody has the same 24 hours, and I'm not about wasting time. So no one's going to come in my life and waste my valuable time. I have too much to do, too many people to love, too many other projects to work on, and to have some man come in my life and just play and waste my time. So I'm certainly not for that. You know, I know that when I met my late husband, I knew something, and maybe this kind of thing will happen again. But when I met him, laid eyes on him, he laid eyes on me. We met through a mutual friend. I said, something's going to happen with me and this man. I don't know what it is, but he was one of the biggest lessons I learned in my life. God sent him to me for a reason. He put us together for a reason. It was a lot of things that happened, ups and downs and all that, but it was meant to be for a reason. You know, I was meant to, be the person that was with him when he had to leave and transition. I was the person that was supposed to be with him, and I had to deal with that. And so that's part of my story. But yeah, the next person that I be with, it has to be loyalty there. I'm not about wasting time at all.
What about LaShayla Jenkins says thoughts on dating outside of your race?
So here's my thing. Here's my thing with that. I've done it. I did it in high school. I think, Mama, you might have too.
Chad.
I did it. I've done it in high school. I feel like this oftentimes, especially in the climate in which we're in. Okay. I think that is something that a conversation has to be had, because in my opinion, no one understands the struggle of that race other than that race. And I don't ever want to be put in a predicament with somebody who doesn't get it. You just get it. At the same time, you could be with a black man that still doesn't get it. You see what I'm saying? So,
or worse, you could be with someone and they think they get it and they don't.
They think they get it and they don't. I think that's the thing of, if that is who God is aligning you with, there's nothing, or it's not an opinion that anybody could put on it, to be perfectly honest. If God is aligning you with someone that isn't of your race, there is not an opinion that I, my mom, my cousin Cassie can put on it. That is something that you, in any situation, you got to ask God, is this the person for me? Because at the end of the day, it's going to be a bunch of us up in glory anyways. You know what I'm saying? But you just have to make sure, in my opinion, that you are, that person really gets who you are as a black woman.
And respects that.
And not only gets who you are as a black woman, but doesn't look at you like you're this magical, whimsical, like, you know, they look at us like we're just, I mean, they adore us all day, but that they really value you, and that pedestal that they're putting you on is a value, and that you don't always have to put on for them to fit that. Oh my goodness, you are just so, your beauty, your skin. Yes, I know my skin is all of that. I know that, but I'm deeper than that.
Melanin is amazing.
You get what I'm saying? So if you do decide to date out of your race, make sure they truly understand who you are as a woman, as a Black woman, and more importantly, as a child of God. You have, when that thing says being unequally yoked, everybody likes to put it on religion. It's beyond that. It's in value. It's in
so many
status.
things.
It's in so many different things. Like, you have to ask those questions. It's beyond race. It's like, do I like you? Do you like me? Do we get along? Like, those certain things are caused to be unequally yoked.
How do you handle conflict?
I can't put an opinion on it because, you know, I did just see a recently fine man that wasn't Black, and I sent it to all my girls in the DMs, and we was like, listen, it was like, girl, they don't get together.
You didn't your mama, okay?
They have a brother, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it just depends.
I got a question up here. My husband passed away in 2013, and I've worn my wedding ring since. Is this a part of me not wanting to let him go? This is from Michelle Green Redmond. Thank you, Michelle. You know, I feel that when you are ready, Michelle, and I feel that a time will come that you will take your wedding band off. It has to be something that you're ready to do. And I don't think it's a part of you totally letting him go. It meant something to you. It is a bond you had with him. And the bond will never be broken, but when you are mentally, emotionally, spiritually ready, a time will come when you will take that wedding band off. Cassie, you know, what do you think?
I think, just in my opinion, that, you know, the wedding, you should take the wedding band off. I personally did, because it was so emotionally charged, and it kept me tied to a life that was no longer. It was over for me. Didn't mean that I was throwing him away. It didn't mean that I didn't value the time that we spent together, but I had to move on. And so for me to be open and to tell the universe that I'm open, God, I'm open to new possibilities. I'm open to love again. I can't wear the bond ring that I had with my deceased partner, partner that's gone. I have to let that go. And so I took that off and I put it with him. I put it with him, So yeah, that's just my opinion. That's just because, certain things show God, show the universe, you got to put certain things out there. So if I'm not going to continue to wear, it's like having his pictures posted everywhere. I couldn't do that. It was too painful, so.
He just said, I think, Miss Raymond, you'll know when it's time to take that off. Or even put it on and make it a necklace, or put it on a different ring finger, or whatever you decide, you'll know. Yep. No one, we can't tell you that. You know what I'm saying? That's something that you, as you navigate. Love that. Okay. But yes, you'll know. So whatever that feeling of knowing is that God gives to you, He'll give you that same thing about that wedding ring and when to let it go. And you'll have a think about it. You won't go back and forth with it. It'll be such a sweet piece about it, I believe.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yes. While it's okay to have an opinion regarding this matter, heaven has a perfect blueprint regarding love, even after loss. My wife, baby doll, passed in 2016, and we must try to move on. Yes, Leon. Your wife and my husband passed away on the same day, just hours apart. So I will never forget that day. Let's go to our last 3 comments that were made. If someone is trying to open the door of your heart, send Jesus Christ to answer it for you. Bobby, you are just too much. One of my classmates from college, saying Christ to answer it for you. I know that's right. Let's read these last 3 comments. Amen. Before we wrap it up. This has been good. All right. Michelle Sanders, take as much time for yourself as you feel you need. No one can tell you when you are ready. That's right, Michelle. You're more than welcome, Sister Redmond. All right, let's hear from Nicole. Cassie, Nicole.
This is a hard one, and I believe there is no one right answer. Healing first for me. I stayed in therapy. I focus on myself and doing what makes me feel at peace. So essentially, I brought back a balance to myself. I wanted to make sure I was happy with me first before I began dating again. Yes, I
Hmm.
agree with that.
Yes,
Hmm.
okay. And Bobby Lee, it starts with much prayer. And yes, we're on YouTube every broadcast. Catherine, Micah, take Catherine.
Be present, serve, don't abuse anybody. Suicide, sexual abuse in the family can't stop God or Jesus or the Holy Spirit for the love to be shown after losses.
Yes. To all of you that have been with us tonight, before cousin Cassie gives her closing remarks, then ML6 and myself, we are here to let you know that God wants you to live to be well. And we have to come to terms with this, the losses in our lives. Cassie, closing comments and ML6, and then we'll close it out.
My closing comment on this is for yourself to be loving, to be kind, and to be happy. That is the
Mhm.
key to moving forward. Be loving, be kind, and be happy.
Yes, show yourself some grace. Mike always says that. Be gracious to yourself.
And be
ML6,
grateful. Always be grateful. Every day,
always,
wake up in gratitude every day.
every day. Yes. Micah?
Know who you are so that somebody doesn't get to come in your life and try to tell you who you are.
Mm,
Hmm.
changing you. Yes, definitely. You know, when is part two? We might have to do part two in 2 weeks, okay?
We
We can,
could.
yeah, we can. We can do part two. Brother Bobby, we're going to do part two in 2 weeks. All right. And let me just say this, that, the need is great. Do not be afraid to seek counseling, to find a support system. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a mental health specialist, but getting the help you need for direction and guidance and someone to listen to you, go through and navigate through your pain, to just listen to you without judgment. I want you to know that we love you. We thank you. You all were amazing. Thank you, Bobby, Michelle, Leon, Mama P, LaShayla, Sir Redmond. We want to thank you so much. Kathy, Carmen, all of you that came on, T. Lee, all of you, but especially you, cousin Rachel Cassie Wheeler. I love you. Thank
Love
you for
you.
who you are in our family and
Yes.
what you
Love you both so
represent.
much.
And thank you, Micah. And as we always say together, what do we say? Live
Live
to be
to be
well.
well.
Good night. Thank
Good
you.
night.